This is a quick video of the electrical system of my Cub Cadet 782 that I refinished a couple of weeks ago. Folks have been asking how I set this all up, so I'll give you a quick walk around of it. First of all, under the seat where the battery is located, I installed a 50 amp circuit breaker dead man. So I can just simply push this button and completely deactivate all of the electronics, all of the electrical system in the whole tractor, make it dormant. Before I start, we need to activate the circuit breaker that sends signal to the whole system. As far as starting the tractor, I removed the ignition key and I installed this plate that I bought off eBay that's used in race cars of all things, and it's simply ignition on and then starter. The other switches activate the lights, the gauges, and the regulator to charge the battery. Folks ask, well, why'd you do that? And I don't know, I just happen to have these switches hanging around and I kind of like switches. Give me a switch and also I'll find something to switch on. I also installed a temperature gauge, and the temperature gauge reads the oil temperature at the bottom of the oil pan. And that was installed by simply using an adapter that came with the Bosch kit and installing it under the engine where you'd normally drain the oil. Next time I take the welder out, I'm going to build a little piece of angle iron to cover this cable so that it's not in harm's way, although I've been doing an awful lot of work and obviously nothing has happened to it so far. The biggest challenge was simply oil pressure. This is a KT17 Series 2 engine, so it has the port for an oil pressure gauge, but I had to find an adapter, and I'm not so sure you're going to be able to see this, but I had to find an adapter to adapt the oil pressure sending port into this Bosch gauge that I bought. And that was $7 from eBay, and installed it and ran the tube. It's a nylon tube that runs all the way up to the gauge, and it was really a pretty easy install and it works pretty good. So the start sequence is pretty simple. We simply flip on ignition and we hit the start button. Starts. Now to activate the gauges, we simply flip on the gauge. That's showing that my battery's at about 13 volts. And then we flip on the regulator, and as you can see, the voltage went up and the regulator is putting at about 14.5, 15 volts. If I wanted to turn the lights on, simply flip this other switch and voila, we have lights on our 782. As you can see, we have good oil pressure. It runs between 50, depending on the RPMs of the engine, and the engine's cold right now, so the oil pressure is a little bit higher than normal. It's normally around 55 pounds, but it works really good and it gives us a good indication. Interestingly, the temperature never gets above 150. I worked the tractor very hard over the last few days, plowing, towing a York rake, and pushing dirt and all kinds of things around, and never ever saw over 150 degrees at the bottom of the engine, and it takes a long time to get up to 150 degrees. These engines run incredibly cool, even using the hydraulics extensively. To shut the engine down, we simply shut off the coil, and then we just shut everything else off. And it's as simple as that. It's kind of neat. I like the whole technology of what we did. I like the fact that it's simple, that I don't have to find a key. Too many keys in life today. That's a quick tour of the electrical system of the Cub Cadet 782.